Hello, my name is Yodi, Mahendradhata, and in this next few minutes, I will give you a brief preview of our lecture on global health. So let me start with a story. Several years ago, there were some doctors in Germany who were puzzled by a patient who they seemingly could not manage to diagnose, even though they've ran so many tests. Only after an additional period of lengthy investigations, they finally managed to find out that this particular patient actually had malaria. Now, they never thought of malaria. They never even suspected that this patient had malaria, because this patient in particular was a local resident born in Germany, and he actually had not traveled to any endemic tropical countries previously. So if you think about it, the risk of getting malaria for a local German who had not traveled to tropical countries is almost zero. Now, so what emerged later on was that apparently this particular patient actually worked at an international airport. So seemingly what happened was the malaria was transmitted by an Anopheles mosquito who was traveling on a plane from Southeast Asia. Now we know mosquito doesn't fly far, but if you put a mosquito inside an Airbus jet, it could fly intercontinental, it could cross oceans. Now this illustrates the increasing risk of cross-border disease transmissions driven by increasing mobility, driven by intensifying air travel. Now, just to give you some figures to ponder on, at the moment, at the least, there are about 40,000 airports in the world. Now, many of these airports are getting bigger and bigger because they have to accommodate more and more passengers. They have to accommodate more and more flights. In 2014 alone, there were at least 37 million scheduled flights across the world. Now, mind you, many of these flights, the durations are shorter than the incubation period of most infectious diseases. So there are possibilities that we are traveling together with patients who are infectious of certain diseases, but we would not be aware of it because they show no clinical sign or symptom whatsoever. Because even though they have been infected and they're infectious, but they are still within their incubation period, so they're practically asymptomatic. Now, this again highlights the increasing risk of cross-border transmission to the process of globalizations. Now, the impact of globalizations to the increase of cross-border disease transmission is just one of the key challenges that we will discuss in our lecture on global health. In principle, the process of globalizations influence the health of individuals, populations, and it also influences how our health system functions in many ways. Globalizations can present an opportunity, but it could also pose threats, particularly to vulnerable populations. Now, in this lecture, we will focus mainly on the impact of globalizations on the health of populations. We will discuss the concept of health transitions and what are the drivers of these transitions. Now, bearing in mind that we are also quickly approaching the deadline for the MDG, the Millennium Development Goals, which will be expiring in December 31st, 2015, we will also reflect on the evolving, the emerging agenda for post-MDG, post-2015, to be able to foresee the future of global health. Now, ultimately, we will discuss the health of the world populations, and we will critically reflect on overcoming the challenges for achieving better health for the world. See you in the lecture.